There are some prayers we bring to God again and again. At first, we bring them with confidence. We believe God can move. We believe He hears us. We believe something can change. But then, time passes. The situation remains the same. The answer does not come the way we hoped. The door does not open. The person does not change. The healing does not happen as quickly as we wanted. The peace we asked for still feels far away. And slowly, something inside us begins to grow tired. We may not stop believing that God can act, but quietly, almost without noticing, we begin to wonder if He will. That is a tender place to be. It is the place where prayer becomes difficult, not because we do not care, but because we care so deeply. It is the place where hope feels costly, where asking again feels vulnerable, where silence can begin to feel like absence. In Luke 18, Jesus tells a story about a widow who keeps coming to a judge, asking for justice. She is vulnerable. She has little power. She cannot force the judge to listen. She cannot control the outcome. All she can do is keep coming. The judge in the story is not kind. He is not compassionate. He does not represent the heart of God. That is important. Jesus is not saying God is like this judge. He is showing us the contrast. If even an unjust judge eventually responds to persistence, how much more can we trust a God who is just, compassionate, and good? The point is not that we must bother God until He finally gives in. The point is that God is not distant like the judge. He is not annoyed by our prayers. He is not cold toward our pain. He does not need to be convinced to care. He already cares. And that is why Jesus begins the parable by saying that we should always pray and not lose heart. Not because prayer is a way to pressure God, but because prayer is one of the ways we keep our hearts near Him when life feels unanswered. Silence is not the same as absence. That may be one of the hardest truths to hold when we are waiting. Because silence can feel empty. It can feel like nothing is happening. It can feel like our prayers have gone somewhere far away and disappeared. But God's silence does not mean God has left. There are seasons when we cannot see what He is doing. There are moments when His timing feels confusing. There are prayers that seem to remain open longer than we expected. And still, He is near. Waiting is not wasted. It may feel hidden. It may feel slow. It may feel like nothing is moving. But there are things God can form in us during waiting that do not grow as deeply in seasons of quick answers. Waiting can teach us dependence, not the kind of dependence that is forced or fearful, but the kind that slowly learns to say, God, I still need you today. Waiting can reveal what we are holding too tightly. It gently asks whether our peace has become attached to an outcome instead of the one who holds our future. It can show us where our peace has become attached to a specific outcome. It can gently uncover the places where we have confused our preferred plan with God's faithful care. Waiting can deepen trust, not because waiting is easy, but because trust becomes real when we do not have every answer. It is one thing to trust God when the path is clear. It is another thing to trust Him when the next step is all we can see. And sometimes, while we are waiting for God to change the circumstance, He is also preparing us within it. That does not make the waiting painless. It does not explain every delay. It does not mean every hard season suddenly makes sense. But it does mean the waiting is not empty in God's hands. He can meet us there. He can strengthen us there. He can soften us there. He can teach us to keep walking with Him one day at a time. The widow in Jesus' story kept coming back, not because she had control, but because she still believed there was somewhere to bring her need. And maybe that is where some of us are. We do not have control. We do not have the full explanation. We do not know when the answer will come. We do not know what God is preparing, but we still have somewhere to bring our hearts. We can bring the disappointment. We can bring the questions. We can bring the tiredness. We can bring the prayer we have prayed so many times before. God is not offended by honest prayer. He is not disappointed when our faith feels small. He is not impatient with our weariness. He knows what it is to meet us in grief, longing, and unanswered pain. And He invites us to keep coming, not with polished words, not with forced confidence, not pretending we are stronger than we are, just honestly. Lord, I am still here. I still need you. I still trust you, even though I do not understand. That may be the prayer that keeps hope alive. This week, perhaps the practice is simple. When you feel the weight of waiting, pause for a moment and pray. God, I do not understand what you are doing, but I choose to trust you today, not tomorrow, not for the whole future all at once, just today. Trust for today is enough for today, and if tomorrow feels heavy, you can bring your heart to Him again. That is not failure. That is faithfulness. Sometimes faith looks like confidence. Sometimes faith looks like joy. Sometimes faith looks like a quiet decision not to walk away while you're still waiting. So if heaven feels quiet, do not assume God has stopped listening. If the answer has not come, do not assume your prayer has been forgotten. If the waiting has been long, do not assume the story is over. God is still near in the silence. He is still kind in the waiting. He is still faithful when the timing is hard to understand. Keep bringing your heart to Him. Keep letting Him carry what you cannot carry alone. Keep trusting that His quietness is not absence and His timing is not neglect, because even when heaven feels quiet, God has not stopped listening.